Hey everyone, it's me, the Law Boss, back again. I decided to make a new video because I got a new mic. I don't know if this works. Oh, geez, yeah, maybe don't want to do that, eh? Might be a bad idea. But anyway, today I thought I'd just do a random video I had in my mind for a while, ranking every paint brand I've used. I've used quite a bit on miniatures, not every single fucking paint brand, because then I'd be ranking paint brands that don't exist anymore from when I was like 3. So we're going from the one I do not like and wouldn't recommend. Oh, wouldn't recommend a strong word. I don't like using to the one I love using. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And at our bottom spot, we have Vallejo. Not ooh, we have Army Painter. I'm not saying it's bad, but the issue is a lot of the products I've used from the Army Painter have either been meh, which I can tolerate, to unusable. What do I mean by this? What are some examples? I don't have any because I don't actually want to buy them, and also they're really hard to get over here. So, what do I mean? Jesus, the first wave of speed paints were straight up trash. They were the Citadel contrast in every way, except if you painted over them, they reactivated. So once you put that coat of contrast on, essentially, you couldn't paint over it, which is just straight up stupid. Like, why? Or if you accidentally put a bit of water on it somehow. Like if you're playing your models on the table, you have a drink of water, and some of the water, flicks onto the model. That's going to reactivate the paint. They fixed it with the brand new Wave 2, but at that point it's too late. You really should release the product how it's meant to be released instead of going, here's the product, this isn't good. Oh, here's it again, but it's better. You know, it's not great. I will give them. Here are the things I like about them though. Quick Shade's great. Takes a little bit of work, but it's essentially using oils without the difficulty of without the whole needing all these products for using oils. All you need is the dip wash, the model, and a paper towel, or a brush with water. Easy, easy as. Some people whinge that it's glossy, and I can get that because you might not have access to a matte varnish. But if you're painting at a level that isn't like I've just got into this, you should be varnishing your miniatures because let me tell you, I only started varnishing my miniatures this year and it makes so much of a difference because my miniatures don't get fucking damaged when they get, they're going around in my case or being transported around a gaming hall or whatever. So yeah, so at our lowest spot, and this isn't a bad thing, it's just my opinion. If you do get genuinely offended by this, because I'm like, this paint brand is not number one, come on, reevaluate your life here. So yeah, number 5, we have Army Painter. Number 4, now I do have one of these because I just bought some, haven't even been opened yet, so I don't even know if they're good or not. In terms of the colours, I've used their prime before. Scale 75. Now, why is this at number 4? Because I've seen a lot of the painting channels like these, and I'm not saying I'm the greatest painter by any means. I've noticed a lot of the Army Painter one, Scale 75, some of the colours are really thin. Like we're getting to wash consistency. Now, that's not a bad thing, because I actually double them as washes. But I like to know what the paint can do, if you get what I mean. Like, with the ranges we'll talk about shortly, you'd get an idea of what the paints do. For example, a GW shade is a wash, and you use it to darken recesses or add colour or desaturate. You can do lots of things with a wash. Whereas this is a red. Okay, what can I do with it? Well, you can try base coat with it, have fun. I'm not a fan of that. Paint wise, the colours, beautiful. I got some skin colour because my Bugman's had ran out. And Bugman's is great. I love using Bugman's Glow, but I wanted to try something different, a bit of experimentation. Never hurts. That's one of my tips I live by. I like to experiment with my paints because I've noticed I've gotten better. I also got this very nice what's it called, pale skin. So I'm going to use that like Kislev. I've got still like half a pot of Cadian flesh tone, so I'm fine on that department. But I thought I'd try something new. I had a bit of store credit at one of the game shops I go to, and I'm like, bugger it, a couple free paints ain't going to hurt, is it? What are some good things? Once you know what they do, they are really good paints. Like, I got what colour was it? I got a purple silver. It sounds really weird, but it's like silver with a purple hue. It's like, if you know the colour Grey Knight Steel from Citadel, It's like that, but more purpley. And I used it on my Dormammu miniature, who I would grab, but I don't want to have to like go out of frame and everything. And it's really good as a dry brush, and it looks very good for the effect you want. Scale 75, if you know exactly what you're looking for and the effect you want to get, you can't go wrong. I mean, apart from the paint brands that are coming up, but their paints are just, oof, very good. Very consistent too. That's why I didn't mention Army Painter. Range consistency, not great. Scale 75, oh yeah, like, it's just my biggest downfall is like, you don't know what each paint does out of the pot, whether it's meant to be used like a wash or a layer. Actually, you can use any paint as anything, really. But you get my point. You can't make a wash into a base, but you can make a base into a wash. So yeah, number 4 is Scale 75. In this ranking, none of them are bad. This is just my opinion, once again. I have to say this because I know for a fact someone watching, like, okay, no, they won't. But, you know, you do have people on the internet who are like, oh my god, you don't agree with me? How dare you? Alright, anyway, moving on to number 3, in the middle of the pack, Citadel. I'm surprised as you are. I've been painting with Citadel since 2015. I'm filming this in 2023. That is a solid 8 years of painting with them, and I still do, because the range is good. It's good. There's a couple paints in the range that are poos. I'm not going to name any names, but White Scar out of the pot. If you think that's a good paint, you know, it's not good paint. It's good for about 2 days, and then the paint decides to just die. It's just like, yeah, I've had enough. It dies. But no, most of their paints are really good. And another thing that's really good, since Citadel and Games Workshop are such a big brand compared to the others, like, they're huge. Like, they're the biggest brand, like, not just Citadel, but I'm talking Games Workshop as a whole. They've got that community thing, so there's lots of ways to see what each paint does. So, for example, here, I'm going to show off. I have painted this Norn Assimilator, who's the better out of the two Norns. Shut up. Not game-wise, he looks cool. I painted this all with Citadel, with washes and base coats and sprays. That's all I had to do, and it looks good. I like him. He's not finished yet. I still got to finish off the base and that. I hate that. I hate tactical rocks. Because I have to paint them. I don't care that it sets them on the thing. I just paint over them. But yeah, all done with Citadel, and he looks great. Because the other good thing with Citadel is, since they're attached to Warhammer, their paints are made for Warhammer, which is the biggest model company in the market. It is. You can't actually argue that. It is one of the biggest. Sure, like, technically, some, like, Airfix might beat them out on it, but wargaming-wise. But that also leads me into a downside. Not a downside, just something to take into consideration. A lot of Citadel colours are extremely vibrant. Even the more beigey, more military colours are very vibrant. Like, I'll get Rakarth Flesh, which I used on my Tyranid. It's still, like, I get that that's quite a, not subtle, that's desaturated paint, but when it comes out of the pot, it does look quite bright. It's not a bad thing. It's just something to take into consideration. They're all very bright colours, but then also you got to think, because they're designing this paint range for these miniatures, it's not like Scale 75 or Army Painter or Vallejo. They're just like, this paint can go on anything, really. You just got to make it work. Yeah. So number 3 is Citadel. Good. Couple paints in a range are just straight poos. Like, we're getting to Army Painter straight poos. White Scar. That's the only one I can actually think of that comes to mind. White Scar, and it's not bad. I'm not good with it, so I'm salty here. This is me getting a little salty. Flash gets yellow. I don't like using that paint. I've seen people make it work. I just don't like using it. This is all my opinion. But yeah, number 3, Citadel. Number 2, we have the almighty Vallejo model color or army color. Is it army color? Game color. Game color. There we go. Number 2. Why is it not at number 1? I hear a lot of people ask. Because it ain't got shit on number 1. That's fucking why. No, in all seriousness, Vallejo, straight up everything in that range is good. I have bought bucket loads of Vallejo paint sets. And paints, and every single time I've opened the pot, I've never had anything bad with it unless it was my fault. For example, I had an oily steel that died because I left it open, and because I was like taking the top off to put the steel caps with the mixers in, and I didn't close properly, and the paint died. That'd be like me leaving home in the Citadel pot and going, "Oh look, my paint dried up." Whoa, angry. It's my doing. I've never had a bad paint straight out of the pot. I've had a couple that have been overfilled. That's a factory thing. Everyone's got factory issues. It happens. Everything's gonna have an error. Like, but that's not even a bad thing. It's like, oh, cool, I got some extra paint. When I pop it open, it starts like a volcano, and I just go onto the pallet. I ain't gonna complain. What can I say that's not great about them? Well, not great, but they only just released their contrast. I'm gonna say contrast because it's not speed paint; it's contrast. Everyone saw G-Dub's contrast, which were muy caliente, very good, very useful. I should have mentioned that in the G-Dub section. Look at me go. They only just released theirs. Seemed pretty good, but that was like Hyperscape for the Battle Royale genre. It showed up like 2 years later. It's like, hey guys, how we doing? I want to be relevant. Battle Royales are dying. Oh, okay. Yeah, they don't have a dedicated wash range, but I suppose the thing is with Vallejo, since they're all pretty much the same consistency straight out of the pot, you can do whatever you want with them. Like, I could turn this bronze green, you never think that'd be a colour, bronze green, but it is, into a wash. I could easily do it. I mean, I think I have before. It's really nice. But I'm also the other thing is you don't need washes to shade your miniatures. You can use highlights and OSLs and things like that. I don't actually have a lot. I suppose one of the negatives about Vallejo for where I am, this is a New Zealand problem. This is a me problem, not everyone else's problem. If you're in the States watching this, everyone in the bloody States seems to have Vallejo coming out of every orifice. They're a bit hard to access. Access. Like, there's only one hobby store that I know of. I could be completely wrong. There's probably another hobby store out there like, we have you complete imbecile, that sells it, which isn't a bad thing, and they sell it for dirt cheap too. Like, I can get about 6 paints for about almost like under $30, which is like, it's very nice. But there's only one place that sells it, and it's in the middle of town. And for context, driving into town in New Zealand and getting a parking spot for free just isn't going to happen. Just won't happen. It's not like it's because it's busy. It just doesn't happen. Everything's paid. So yeah, that's Vallejo. Number one. Now you're probably all thinking, what's number one? What number one out of all the paints he's used is number one? AK Interactive, by a mile. By an absolute mile. Why? Everything out of these comes out super nice and dries super smooth. Doesn't need much water either. That's always great. When I sometimes forget to water down my paints like a complete buffoon, it can still be salvaged. Great there. There's so much range. I think they've got more range. Not just paints. We'll get into what else they do. Range than Citadel, which I didn't think was possible, but here we are. Look at how fucking idiot I look like. They have lots of paint sets. Not in the way that other ones do. It's like, this is to paint a Space Marine from the blue ones, or this is to paint a Captain Americans. It's not like that. It's not a bad thing. That's just how I think when they're like, this is to paint and Custody. It's like, oh, well, okay, I don't want this then. I don't play Custodies. They have green skin paint. Ooh, well, that's convenient. Hulk, Orcs, Tyranids. I did this before I got my green paint set. Look at me go. Then they've got this bloody paint set, which, if you know how to paint, well, you can paint neon like lights. They have about 6 non-metallic metal for each color. 6 non-metallic metal paint sets for like 4 different types of metal. They've even got like, I call them specialty sets, where like I got one for fire because I have Ghost Riders. I have 2 Ghost Riders. Ooh, Cosmic and normal, for those who don't know Marvel very well or care about Marvel. I got it, and it gave me a very nice red and a very nice orange to boot. And fire is quite common. They've also got purple, magenta, plasma, zombie skin. Pretty much any armor from World War II and modern tanks, they've got a paint set that you can be like, cool, I'm going to paint this on my model tank, and that's how it's going to look. And it's cheap. It's nice and cheap and affordable. Citadel is good, but $750 for a paint is like, it's just, okay, you're getting a lot of paint, sure, but $750 for a paint is like, oof. And Citadel don't do paint sets, to my knowledge. Like, they had those ones where it was like the base paint range, the wash range. That was really good, but not good for someone who's already into painting. Because I've already got a full pot of Nuln Oil, because I spill it every 2 weeks. You know, if you don't spill your Nuln Oil, you're not a real painter. You know, it's a bit restrictive. Whereas with these ones, you can be like, I need to paint. Let's say you're painting Darth Vader. There is an actual paint set for painting black armor, and they've got Darth Vader on the cover. So you're like, oh, I can paint Darth Vader with that. Like when I was painting up my what's his name? I repainted Conrad Kurz, I'm pretty sure it was. I'll have to find them. He's in storage somewhere. They had blue power armor that was like Night Lord's blue power armor, not Ultramarines. Night Lord's looking blue power armor. It was a full paint set for like $15. It's very good. And if you want to get them by themselves, I think they're like $5 from $5 or $6 from a place called Constellation Hobbies. If you're in New Zealand and you can get out there, would totally recommend. The guy's really nice. This isn't even sponsored. I just want to give a good word. Guy's really nice, and they have pretty much every AK range. Speaking of AK range, I'm going to keep sucking them off some more. They have, by far, you can't argue, the best, for New Zealand anyway, the best texture paint. This and this. This is still good. $13.50. So, bit of money, it's alright. You can base a lot of models out of it. Like, I've based pretty much my 2K NIDs with it. Almost. I think I'm going to run out, which is a bit sad. This I have based... one 3,000 point Age of Sigmar army and one 2,000 point Horus Heresy army amongst a bunch of kill teams and random shit I've painted. And I've only gotten down to a third. And this was $20. And there's lots of variety. The thing with the other companies, Vallejo included, is they've just got paste, which is good because then you can create it from there. Paste, and then like urban debris, basic desert, basic marshland. This there is like, you know, very dry ground. The beach sand, because, you know, if you've been in the desert, you've been to the beach, different sand. They've got like World War One looking mud. They've got Mars. I mean, GW have that too, and I'd argue the GW one just beats it out. They've got grayscale, so if you're painting a bunch of miniatures in grayscale, like dry-looking grayscale, concrete. They've even got asphalt. Oh, I probably said that wrong. Asphalt, or however you say it. I don't care. And I tried it out, and it looks really good. They've also got great pigments. Just great everything. The only thing they don't have that's great is glue. That's about it. I don't like that glue. For my glue, I go to Tamiya, but I haven't used Tamiya paint, so I can't rank them. But I'm sure they're pretty good, because my mate uses them, and they look very good. So I'll put them as, like, honourable mention. Tamiya there. Go Tamiya, you exist. Right through the airbrush, I've heard. So, your airbrush. And also, the thing with, I've noticed with GW and Vallejo in particular, GW paints, unless you're a contrast, you need the thinner or the air paints. They don't go through the airbrush very well. These with a bit of water go through the airbrush like magic. I've only airbrushed 2 miniatures in my entire life so far. One of them was Hulk, and I'm probably going to have to repaint it because I did a shit job. That was with the Citadel, and I didn't know what I was doing. That, with a bit of water, is really good. So yeah, that's my ranking. AK Interactive, you win my little, you know, channel with 300 subs. Best paint/hobby range, and then, you know, silver medal to Vallejo, bronze to GW, and then, you know, congratulations to the other ones for competing, I guess. Once again, do not get butthurt that I said your paint range wasn't number 1. It's my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, I'll make a video saying, hey, this is in response to the Law Boss and how he is wrong and how he can go drink his Nuln Oil. Can maybe drink his Agrax Earth Shadow. I drink Nuln Oil on the daily. But anyway, case stands. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this little video. I do want to put out another video where I talk to the camera. I quite like these ones about Marvel Crisis Protocol. So keep an eye out for that, because it's going to be good. Let's put it that way. But anyway, without further ado, I will see you in the next video. Peace.